I'm Greg Johnston, CEO of Carl Data Solutions, an industrial Internet of Things company that provides big data solutions for monitoring critical infrastructure. Carl Data offers machine learning and predictive analytics features through our cloud-based applications to deliver key asset-saving operational insights from massive amounts of data. Carl Data trades on the CSE, symbol CRL, and the Pink, symbol CDTAF. For more details on Carl Data, please visit carlsolutions.com.
You're listening to HowStreet.com radio, available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. Welcome to HowStreet.com radio, the online source for market opinions. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Mike Swanson, editor of WallStreetWindow.com. Welcome back to the show, Mike.
Oh, it's great to talk to you. Very interesting day this year, that's for sure, as we start out the year.
Well, I was wondering why U.S. equity markets were down today, and you have a simple explanation.
Well, this morning on Bloomberg, it was reported that China said that they may suspend buying additional U.S. Treasuries. So that hit the Treasury bond in the United States, made the interest rates go up a little bit, and that's, of course, hitting the stock market. And in particular, the danger that faces for us. I mean, I don't think we're in immediate danger when I say these things. I see no sign that we're having a significant stock market top. I use indicators that have about a 90-day forecasting ability, and I don't see that huge danger sign or anything within the next 90 days. But news like this can lead to that in time. And what it does to the stock market is we, of course, have had a tremendous run last year. Much of that run fueled by stock buybacks. I was actually seeing a segment on CNBC the other day where they said that there's actually fewer shares outstanding in the stock market than there's been since 2006. So then they're saying, well, there's just less supply. And the companies, thanks to Trump's tax cut, are looking to buy even more of their share stock, limit more supply, and so people are really looking forward to that as a thing to pump the market up. But over the past couple of years, companies have done massive buybacks by issuing junk bond debt, and there's actually record corporate debt out there, and a lot of it has to be refinanced over the next 5 years. The problem is if our interest rates go up enough, that will make companies, not be willing to buy, go deeper and deeper and deeper into debt at higher prices and higher costs just to do share buybacks. I know the Trump tax money can come from overseas, to these companies, repatriation, but that's something that's really just going to last for 6 months. So in the long run, we need in the United States these super low interest rates to keep the junk bond debt machine going. And the news of China saying that they may suspend buying more Treasury bonds, that's just a danger sign for ahead. If they were to actually do that, it would be really big trouble in time for the U.S. stock market, because that would mean our interest rates would go up, and it just hit the bond market and hit this junk bond market, which is really the biggest bubble out there. It's really the bond market. If you can remember, a couple years ago, there was negative yields actually in some government debt, such as in Sweden and Germany, and that's because that's where we've seen the lowest interest rates in history. I mean, negative rates, and it's just the biggest bubble ever. The stock market has high valuations, of course, but it has for years, and it's really the bond market where the big bubble is. And one thing that is benefiting from this today is gold prices went up on the open, and of course gold's been rallying now for almost a month, but this is obviously a positive for gold, and it's a reason for people really to buy more gold as this year unfolds. Even if the stock market continues to do okay for even the entire year, it still is a reason for people to diversify by buying gold for what could happen in the years to come.
We'll have more with Mike Swanson right after the break.
Arctic Star Exploration, operated by a team of proven mine finders, is focused on diamonds in Finland and the Northwest Territories of Canada. A work program is planned for our Finland property that contains diamond-bearing kimberlite. Arctic Star trades on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol ADD, and the Frankfurt Exchange, symbol 82A1. Please visit our website at arcticstar.ca or call us at 604-689-1799.
I'm Brian Fowler, president of Blind Creek Resources Limited, listed on the TSX Venture Exchange, ticker symbol BCK. Blind Creek is focused in the Yukon, Northwest Territories, and British Columbia. The company's key property is the Blend Project, one of the largest undeveloped lead-zinc-silver deposits in Western Canada, plus plans to advance the recently acquired, fully permitted historic engineer gold mine in the Atlan District of Northwestern BC. Check us out at blindcreekresources.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Mike Swanson. Mike, oil prices haven't been this high in nearly 4 years. Do you see prices to continue higher, or are they going to be stuck just above $60?
Well, my feeling is they're probably going to float around this $60 range. I mean, it's been a really nice rally, of course, and the oil stocks have come, done very well. They're actually above the highs they made in December 2016, and they were one of the worst performing sectors in the entire financial markets for most of last year, and now they finally gone back above those previous highs set 2 years ago. So that's a positive development for sure. I'm not really bearish on oil, but I'm not necessarily super bullish either. I think they need to, oil prices and these stocks, they need to digest their recent gains and enter some sort of range and go through it for me to be a real believer in it. It's kind of funny because this is kind of the situation. I'm bullish on gold, but most people aren't, and they see gold having gone up to near 1330, and the GDX Gold Stock ETF up near 24, which is close to the highs of September. And most people don't believe in it. They think, well, this is just another bounce and it'll fade. And it takes a move through highs. So if the GDX were to go through 24, say up to 25, people would then start to believe in it. But I could just tell you there's no interest among, retail investors at all. But the point I'm saying about this is I feel like that about oil. I need to see oil, consolidate and go up before I'll be a believer, just like most of the people that are watching gold. They need to see it go up more before they'll believe in it. As I do right now. So in the end, a lot of times the price action in a market really dictates the psychology of it, and it takes higher prices to make people want to buy. I mean, there's no more evidence of that than Bitcoin last year. It was $1,000, just under 1,000 at the end of 2016, and now in December and January. There's like a mania in Bitcoin, but 13 months ago, nobody cared about it, but it's the run that excites people. And one thing about the stock market, despite the news of China and so forth, I think, and I think there are a lot of long range risks in the market that we have to be aware of. However, even though the markets took a little bit of a hit this morning, it's not a big drop. And there's a stock I was looking at yesterday, Eastman Kodak, the camera company. It's been one of the worst performing stocks in the entire stock market. Not many people use these Kodak cameras anymore. We're not in the 1970s where everyone's buying Kodak film. So it's been a pretty, terrible investment. But yesterday the stock went up over 100%, and it's up over 50% today because it announced that it's going to create its own crypto virtual currency, and it's gone up so much on that news. What that's a sign of is that even with that, Treasury bond drop and that headline news from China, it's not stopping people from speculating. It's not stopping people from, wanting to take the big gambles. And that means we're not really, we're not in a bear market or even a top when you can see stocks like that make moves like that. based on what I really consider to be silly news, but it's a headline that a lot of people like to chase. Anything involving cryptocurrencies is something that causes people to hit the buy button, or some people.
We'll have more with Mike Swanson right after this.
I'm Bill McWilliam, president of Cascadero Copper, CCD on the TSX Venture Exchange. Cesium is one of the world's rarest metals with a growing industrial demand. Drilling is underway on our Tehran property in Argentina to prove up a cesium resource. Cascadero's patent-pending leach process has the potential to make Cascadero the lowest cost supplier of cesium in the world. Visit our website, cascadero.com, or phone us at 604-924-5504.
Keep informed. Receive our weekly recap of thought-provoking articles, podcasts, and radio delivered to your inbox for free. Sign up for the HowStreet.com weekly recap on our homepage, HowStreet.com. Welcome back. We're speaking with Mike Swanson. Mike, I've never seen such divergent views on one single subject, and that is cryptocurrencies. Half the people I talk to say you're insane if you don't get involved in it. The other half say you're insane if you do.
Well, I think it's exactly like the internet stocks, I qualify that it's not exactly like internet stocks, but there's some similarities with the internet stocks, and that is that they move tremendously on any given day. And I used to trade, I was trading these internet stocks in the 90s, but I didn't believe in them. I thought most of them were companies that didn't make any money and will eventually go bankrupt, but it was such a hot element in the financial markets. I traded it to get involved and have fun on these big swings. And that's what the cryptos do. They have these big swings that fascinate people, and they are actually bringing renewed interest into the financial markets. People, it sounds kind of funny, but the people have kind of gotten bored over the past couple of years. The market hasn't really had a significant drop. This 2016, gold didn't do, gold in the gold stocks went basically sideways last year, very low volatility. They did go up on the year, but, not much really happened. And so many people, they're just watching the Dow, go up or down 50 points, and people are just bored of this market after so many years. And here comes along the cryptocurrencies, which, for most people are a new thing, and it goes up, so it's gone up so fast, it's just exciting for people to get involved in something. It's like I bought a lottery. I don't do it very often, but I bought a lottery ticket over the weekend with a chance to win, what was it, $300 million. That's fun to think about. You don't take it seriously, but and I think that's attitude people should take with the cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin. Realize this is a fast-moving thing, and it goes up and down a lot, and that's all it is. And don't, believe that this is the future, it's going to replace the dollar, and all these other things that people are saying, that the so-called true believers. Well, when I was buying the internet stocks in the 90s, these companies weren't making money. They only, they were saying, they got page views, and that's why you should invest in them. Well, they're fun to trade. They were terrible to invest in. Most of them went to zero, except, Amazon and Yahoo and eBay and a couple of the others. But most of these internet stocks went bankrupt. And these crypto coins, I think in 5 years or whenever the bubble busts on them, they will cease to exist. Just like the internet stocks cease to exist because they're not backed by anything. They're basically people creating currencies on their own and floating them on the market, and people are trading them in the hopes that this or that currency will become the next Bitcoin, when it's not backed by anything, and it's just kind of silly. But it's, as long as there's people excited about it and playing it, it's a big party. But once the party ends, it'll just crash. But I'm not saying it's crashing today, but that's the attitude everyone should have. If you want to play in it, it's like a lottery ticket, but don't take it too seriously.
Really, mad money, like you might go down to the local casino if you're willing to bet $500 that night. You should you could play cryptocurrencies the same way.
Yeah, I really think that's the way to look at it. And, I'll emphasize it this way to compare it so people really understand what it really is. One of the hot things out there is something called an initial coin offering, ICO. And, if you're like me, you see ads for this all over the place. Buy the next coin offering, and the idea is you might get into the next Bitcoin. Now, I invest in stocks, of course, and I bought private placements in stocks. When you buy a stock, you're actually buying ownership in a company. So if I buy Exxon, I'll get a dividend. If Exxon were somehow to get bought out, I would benefit from that. The company buying Exxon would have to buy my shares. An initial coin offering is nothing like that. So some company, such as Kodak, they issue a coin offering, and that coin will never pay a dividend. And if Kodak's earnings go up or Kodak gets bought out, there'll be no benefit. All it is a purely created virtual currency out of thin air that just trades on its own. It has no, linkage or ownership on the company or the people that create it. So this is really, to me, the most speculative thing I've probably ever seen as a financial instrument in the financial markets. I mean, those internet stocks I was talking bad about, if you own one and the company were to merge, get bought out, you'd benefit. You had something. If the company went bankrupt, of course, you had nothing. But these virtual currencies are literally nothing but, floating pieces of paper. And, and they're not going to replace the U.S. dollar or the Canadian dollar or gold or any other real currency that people spend in real life. I say that because Bitcoin is the one that's held up to be the standard, but if I were to go create one of my crypto wallets and go and buy a pizza, it ends up costing like $50 when it should cost $10 because of all the transaction fees. So it's not, these cryptocurrencies are not a form of money. They're a form of pure speculation, just as, if you go in the sports book in the casino and buy a bet on a football game, you're not buying an investment or anything like that. It's pure gambling, just like a lottery ticket. But it's it's fun for people. It's there's something like this kind of appeared in trading with binary options almost 10 years ago. That was a big fad for 2 or 3 years, but this thing has surpassed anything I've ever seen because this is really a global phenomenon. Over 80% of the actual trades in cryptocurrencies are going on in Asia, not inside the United States or Canada. And all you need is a phone to do it. You don't need a computer. You don't need even any amount of money. You can just use a credit card and get $20 or $30 worth of the stuff and just start there, just like a lottery ticket. You can put $1 in. You don't need to put in 500 or 1,000. So this is really an every man in the street type situation. And I'll tell one last story about it and shut up about it, but I have a friend of mine that works in the local jail, and he told me that they've arrested 2 people that once they, just for an overnight thing, nothing serious, but they arrest somebody, maybe it's drunk in public or who knows what it is, and the people will beg for their phones back because they've got a crypto trade on. So that's how crazy this is really getting, where everyone in the world is now doing this.
I thought you were going to tell me they were going to pay their bail in Bitcoin.
I don't think they would take it, but that would be funny.
Well, somebody said the official sign of a currency being recognized is, will the government take it for a tax payment? And have you heard of a government taking Bitcoin for taxes yet?
No, I haven't. That's a good point. That's interesting. Yeah. Well, if that happens, then we'll see. But I really doubt it. It's just so crazy.
Well, how long before we see Swanson coin out there?
You'll never see that. But now, it does make you wonder how easy is it to actually make these things. I haven't looked into that myself, but there's a website called Coin Market Cap, and there's over 1,300 of these virtual currencies. And 12 months ago, I think there were like less than 300. So that's how many had been created in the past year.
something like 3 or 4 every day.
Yeah. Why not? As long as people are out there to buy them, they're going to create them. And I don't see any, I don't think it's ended yet. So maybe it can last another 6 months or another year. I have no idea, what Bitcoin could go to. Maybe it'll go to 30,000 or 50,000 or 100. Who knows? It's like the internet stocks. Some of them would go up more than you could imagine. So it's just who knows? But another important point to make about this is those internet stocks in the 90s, they were a sign that we were ending the final phase of the bull market because it was just pure speculation. And, we've basically seen high valuations in just about everything in the financial markets. We talked about a bond bubble at the beginning, and the U.S. stock market is got, I think, the highest price-to-sales ratio in its history. The CAPE ratio, which I like, the cyclically adjusted PE, as at its second highest valuation in history. So in most markets around the world are in a similar situation. And I think what's happened is it is actually playing the Bitcoin and crypto, it's playing the same role as internet stocks did. And that it's a pure arena of speculation that, I think is really disconnected from anyone saying, well, this is what this should be worth, and it makes sense. Just like those were. So I think it's a sign we're in the ninth inning of the global bull market. And just, if the internet stocks were capping off the U.S. stock market bull market of the 90s, we're now really in a global bull market, a global bond bull market too. So why not have it be capped off by a global niche of speculation that everyone in the world can do, no matter how much money you got, and you don't even need a computer. A phone is all you need, and a credit card. So I think that's what we're seeing is a speculative blow off for the whole global markets, people all over the world engaging in a mania together. And that's something maybe that's never been seen in world history. So it's, when this is all done, people will write books about it. The crypto people I know think the book they're going to be writing is that crypto is going to cause the abolishment of central banks and world governments. But I think instead it's going to be a book about how did so many people go crazy thinking that virtual paper was worth anything. But, that's, but we're not at that chapter yet.
Mike, thanks a lot for chatting with us.
Thank you. Great to talk with you.
My guest has been Mike Swanson, editor of WallStreetWindow.com. You're listening to HowStreet.com radio. You can contact us or our guests by sending an email to info@HowStreet.com. I'm Jim Goddard. Thanks for listening.
Comments made on HowStreet.com radio are an expression of opinion only and should not be construed in any matter whatsoever as recommendations to buy or sell any financial instrument at any time. Available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. HowStreet.com radio is a production of HowStreet Media Incorporated.